Now, from your trusted team of meteorologists at Panhandle Weather, this is your weekend forecast update.
Let's take a look at what's going on weather-wise as we make our way on into the weekend across our area. When I should say extended weekend, we'll count Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So here you go. This weekend, in particular, Saturday and Sunday. Saturday should be dry, a little more cloud cover. Sunday, there will be a small chance of some rainfall and a little bit warmer with temperatures there into the 70s. You'll see the dry air mass in place starting off Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then the moisture returns on Sunday, and that will lead to that return chance of rainfall coming back into the forecast for the end of the weekend and start of next week. So across our neck of the woods, future clouds and radar. Again, you see plenty of cloud cover returning as we head into Friday and Saturday, Friday night into Saturday. But as far as rainfall chances, the bulk of this rainfall kind of hanging back to the west, at least through Saturday evening. But as we head into the day on Sunday, here comes some showers and maybe some thunderstorms across our area that could give us at least a decent chance for some rainfall. First things first, Thanksgiving morning, the 30A 10K. Cool weather for sure, 40s and 50s for temperatures during that race. Meanwhile, the tree lighting Friday evening in Rosemary Beach, you'll see mostly cloudy skies. 50s and 40s for temperatures. Aaron Besant Park, home for the holidays on Friday from 3 until 7:30. Cool weather for that with, again, some passing clouds, mainly 50s. Saturday's beach home for the holidays. Sunny skies to start, and then we'll see some clouds later on. Temperatures into the 60s. And if you're doing some Black Friday shopping, expect cool weather with increasing clouds as we head through your Friday. But all in all, pretty good weather for some shopping. Friday night, we have high school football, third round of the playoffs. Look at that. Temperatures into the 40s under mostly cloudy skies. North winds at 5 to 10 miles an hour. The Seaside Christmas Parade is on Saturday at 3 o'clock. And then they have all sorts of little events around town with temperatures into the 50s. Hey, and a good evening. Meteorologist Chris Smith here in the Panhandle Weather Studios out here in Inlet Beach. Dan Nyman over at his house in a very dry Springfield this evening.
Yeah, we just realized we've been talking to ourselves for the last 10 minutes, but here we are. Re-rack and retry. It is quite dry in Springfield, as Chris mentioned. That water main break certainly put a wrench in my evening plans. But we will persevere and hopefully be ready to go for potentially a night of showers and thunderstorms, Chris.
Yeah, we're going to be watching it carefully. It's not setting up necessarily to be a big event by any stretch of the imagination, but anytime you get a chance of storms during the overnight hours, we want to make sure that everyone is covered, and we will be sure to do so. Right now, though, things are very, very quiet, but you can kind of feel it outside. Things are pretty moist and pretty sticky across our region.
Yeah, I was noticing outside, pretty humid out there, but also a lot of the stuff that I've been looking at as far as like data behind the scenes, I wasn't necessarily impressed with any of the ingredients needed for strong to severe storms. And that was kind of the thinking yesterday, both the National Weather Service offices in Mobile and Tallahassee kind of talking about areas a little further towards the north, potentially seeing better dynamics for some strong thunderstorms. And then, of course, for us, we certainly have the moisture and the warmth to work with, but it's not looking all that likely that we're going to have maybe some of the other factors like the shear to get a whole lot of that activity going. So we'll see what happens, but might be a somewhat more quiet night, maybe a bit of a boring night for Chris and I watching it, but we'll watch it, of course, nonetheless.
Yeah, we're going to keep an eye on it just in case, but yeah, I'm not overly optimistic that we're going to lot of rainfall out of this thing either. Let's go ahead and take a gander outside as we look out over into Destin this evening. Dew point temperatures remaining quite high across our area, up into the 70-degree range along the coastline. But you can see with that high moisture content, it's slow to cool, and as a result, we're still into the 70s as of 6 o'clock this evening, and we got showers and thunderstorms still well back to our west, so folks out enjoying themselves this evening as they dine out across our area. So here's what's going on over at the Blue Parrot on St. George Island. Got a few folks out there tonight. Most of the tables are full, and the wind out of the south-southeast at 11 miles per hour. Live Doppler radar is pretty quiet right now as we look across our area. You can see some showers and thunderstorms over towards Mobile. Stronger storms up near just north of Atmore there along Interstate 65. As far as the tornado watch, that now just expiring for Alabama. So we don't have any watches right now. And looking here, I don't see any warnings as well. We have a special weather statement for a stronger thunderstorm over near the Mobile area that we're talking about, moving through Mobile County over towards Baldwin County. And then we'll see those storms from Montgomery up towards Auburn and eventually up into LaGrange this evening. But again, this is very much a broken line of storms and not necessarily a potent line of storms, but still nonetheless, slight risk of severe weather northward, marginal risk of severe weather back down here into northwest Florida. That equates to just a 2% chance of seeing a tornado in this green shaded area, which pretty much runs from Panama City to Mariana on westward. That's a 2% chance that within 25 miles of where you are that you would see a tornado. Not very high. Wind is the primary threat. That's a 5% chance across our area from Mariana to Panama City and over into Pensacola. Hail, not much of a threat at all. Look at the temperatures, though. I mean, we are up there for sure. We are looking at temperatures right now currently into the 70s across our area. Dew point temperatures into the 60s. So again, you can feel that air you can wear outside. Winds are out of the southeast at about 5 to 10 miles an hour. Across our coastal waters, we continue to see across our coastal waters, winds are up there 15 to 20 miles an hour. So as we move overnight tonight, notice the storms up here to the north, but again, not a lot down here to the south. Matter of fact, as we move through the overnight hours, you just kind of see a smattering of a few spotty storms. This is our in-house Barron model as it moves off to the east. So it's even less bullish than it was before, which wasn't very bullish with my last update I put out even just an hour ago. Everything clears out pretty quickly. Now, I want to back this up and have Dan talk about, though, the HER model is a little bit more aggressive with what we're seeing. And I mean, when I say aggressive, it's not a lot aggressive, but at least it is showing a few more showers and thunderstorms tonight.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with that. Obviously, we'll watch for the potential to see a couple of those get going, but there's not a whole lot to impress you when you look at the models, and that's kind of been the case here recently as we continue to see kind of this broken line of showers and thunderstorms sliding across the Panhandle, and certainly nothing that raises a whole lot of huge concern. So look at a comparison here. We'll start with our in-house model, and as we get through the overnight hours tonight, you might be surprised to see there's really not a whole lot of intensity with any of these cells popping up on screen. That's certainly going to be something that kind of falls in line with the rainfall forecast element of what we're looking at here with the line that we're expecting tonight. Obviously, with these small little dots that you're seeing on screen, you're not going to pick up a whole lot of accumulating rainfall. We're probably going to see very little, if any, sort of dent in dry conditions because of that. And very quickly, you'll notice as you get in towards Wednesday, even the morning hours, we're already in that transitional phase away from the warmth, humidity, and the chance of rain towards returning sunshine, some cirrus clouds, maybe a bit drier of a feel, and obviously the rest of Wednesday looking to be a pretty sunny and comfortable day. Cooler, though, by the time we get into the evening hours. Let's look at the HER model, though, a high-resolution model as well with a pretty small grid spacing, so it picks up on thunderstorm activity equally well as our in-house computer model. This here showing a little bit more robust activity up towards I-10. You see that just into the northern parts of Jackson County. Pretty strong cell there. Offshore, you've got a couple of cells sliding on through as well. And it all moves quite quickly. So while you have the chance of seeing some of these storms overnight, they're not going to spend too long of a time in any given location, and it seems pretty likely that we'll fall maybe somewhere in the middle of these two solutions, ultimately looking at what would be a broken line of showers and thunderstorms. So not something that's super organized over a large distance, but more individual sort of cells sliding through along a cold front that gives you an equal chance of maybe hit or miss rain opportunities through the overnight hours. But by 8 o'clock in the morning tomorrow, you're already looking at a pretty smooth morning commute, at least for most of the Panhandle. As you get southeast of 231, depending on timing, this line does look to be moving just a little more quickly than models the past few days, and maybe we'll continue that trend, but there is an opportunity for my friends in Gulf, Franklin, Wakulla County to maybe be dealing with a smidge of showers and thunderstorms through the morning hours on Wednesday. As far as your day planner goes, next few hours, your nighttime planner, I should say, we'll see that chance begin to materialize, that chance of rainfall, just before midnight tonight, and that starts with some of those popcorn sort of cells sliding up out of the south. Certainly a chance for a quick downpour, maybe a rumble of thunder, but it is a little bit closer towards the cold front where you have the better lift and potentially slightly better dynamics that you could see maybe a little more organized of a thunderstorm with that opportunity for 1 or 2 severe thunderstorm warnings. And you'll see as well, temperatures not going to cool down a whole lot tonight. That humidity certainly is noticeable outside. And as you get through your morning hours tomorrow, we're only dropping into the upper 60s for coastal locations, mid 60s for, up towards I-10. So everybody's dealing with the humidity right now. And that, of course, is adding to a little bit of discomfort outside. Certainly does not feel like Thanksgiving is just a few sleeps away. Let's talk about viewer photos, though. Of course, Chris, we love to get these photos in, and we've gotten plenty here over the course of this week. Been a very good week for viewer photos, and we not only have sunset pictures, but did we get any Chris Smith's lights photos submitted too?
I do have some of those. I'm going to talk about those. I can't remember if it's at the top of the next segment or at the bottom, but I have them there. It's just they're not right here.
Okay, well, sorry to jump ahead of you there, but we got that one in from Jim. I'll let you take it away with the rest of these as I sort out some additional problems on my computer. It's all falling apart in Springfield tonight.
No, it's all good. Yeah, this was Jim this morning crossing the Mid-Bay Bridge, so he's looking, let's see, so he must be traveling south. Looking out the driver's side window there across the bay and points eastward this morning over into Okaloosa County. Sarah Deaver in Panama City Beach was asking about this, and it's an anti-crepuscular ray that you can see visible there. It's that shadow that is kind of shooting across the sky, almost is a little bit of like an isosceles triangle there, looking towards the east. This morning as the sun was rising over across the horizon. And Terry Nichols this evening over onto Cape San Blas tonight. Few clouds out there, but a gorgeous natural view there over into Cape San Blas this evening. You can always submit your photos on the Panhandle Weather app. It's right there. Go to Submit Photos. You can submit your videos there as well. And we'll talk more about Christmas lights in just a minute.
Your piece of land demands the very best equipment. Kubota equipment. The #1 selling compact tractor in the U.S. With professional grade mowers, versatile sidekick utility vehicles, and compact tractors that get it done right. All backed by unmatched dealer support. Talk to your dealer today to schedule a demo.
For decades, I've taught you everything I know. How to safely build a fire, and how to control the flames. But I can only teach wildfire prevention. Only you can prevent wildfires.
Everyone has a ritual, that small thing that keeps us focused.
A habit we never skip to clear our minds and elevate our performance.
But what do you do to keep your head in the game, to drown out that self-doubt and support your mental health? Because being your best isn't just about taking care of your body.
It's about taking care of your mind and your mental health.
Discover the resources that you need to keep your mind focused and your mental health a priority.
Now is a great time for a new Toyota, where you can get 1.99% APR on a new Camry and get $500 in holiday cash. Get 3.49% APR on a new Corolla and get $500 in holiday cash. Get 1.99% on a new Tacoma, plus $1,000 in holiday cash. And 1.99% on a new Tundra, plus you'll get $1,000 in holiday cash. Visit our lot or browse online at Panama City Toyota.
Now, from your trusted team of meteorologists at Panhandle Weather, this is your evening forecast update.
And a good evening. Meteorologist Chris Smith here. Jim Adams. Excellent. He's watching us on Roku this evening. Shannon Smith. Tracy Gaddis. Yeah, no more tornadoes from Mexico Beach, please. We're going to see if we can do that. Dr. Shane watching, thank you so much and have a wonderful Thanksgiving. We got Yvette and Shannon. My goodness. And James, thank you so much for tuning in. Tyler tuning in this evening. So got a nice crowd tonight for Panhandle Weather. Dan, how are we doing tonight? I hear you clicking away feverishly.
Yeah, I was fixing things. That seems to be the theme of the day. All day long, we have had things to fix. And obviously, it might be useful getting out there helping to fix the water issue in in my neighborhood, too. But we've got weather to talk about. It's been a while. We've got lots of changes here this week.
Yeah, we're going to see some pretty good showers and thunderstorms maybe develop. We've seen them today across Alabama, but the thinking is that it weakens as it moves into our neck of the woods. So we'll keep an eye on it just in case. But this evening, Dan was asking about Christmas lights, and indeed we did get some pictures in. This coming into 82 Veterans Drive in Santa Rosa Beach. So it's down the road just a little bit here in Walton County, but you can see we got plenty of characters out there, some in inflatables, or as we call them in the Weather Center, the infallibles. Look at the lights there across the roof of the house. A job well done, and we got the trunks of the palm trees wrapped, but a great job there. And you can find out where Veterans Drive is by going to Christmas lights. That's on our website at panhandleweather.com. You'll be able to go there, and we have an interactive map, and we have the past 10 years of light display pictures that have been submitted to me for Chris Smith's lights. So thank you very much, and thanks to our sponsors, Coconut Creek Family Fun Park and Danny Riles Real Estate, who has that decorated bus up there in Bluntstown. Let's talk about travel. Not too many travel problems, believe it or not, at least not across our area. Tallahassee, ECP, VPS, and Pensacola. Okay, we do have some storms over near Mobile right now. But as we look out over into Texas, we have Houston. That's Houston Hobby. And Dan and we talked about, I forgot to bring this up. IAH was Houston Intercontinental Airport, but that was renamed Bush Airport. So IAH is Bush, and Houston Hobby are your two airports there. I don't know why I had that brain fart. Kansas City, St. Louis are doing fine. Chicago airports are doing okay, although you do have some rain on approach. Now, as you look up into the Northeast, this is a small miracle. Newark, Philly, and Baltimore are okay. We do have some delays over in Washington. Atlanta, Charlotte are looking pretty good, despite the fact that we do have some rain moving into Atlanta. I do expect to see maybe a few problems this evening. As we look at those travel concerns across the northern tier of the United States and the eastern third of the country between Chicago and Washington, we could see some delays this evening. That continues for the northeastern United States down into the deep south for Wednesday. And then as we move into Thanksgiving, notice we're pretty much confined to the Great Lakes and the Pacific Northwest for the risk of any travel delays, and that stays across the northern tier of the country as we head into Friday. So all in all, once we get through tonight and tomorrow, things do begin to improve, but you may be a little slow going where you're traveling tomorrow. Meanwhile, as we look out over across Panama City and Panama City Beach, got quiet conditions here this evening. Looks like we got some paddle boarders out there with some spotlights there on the water, because there's the water break right there. So looks like paddle boarders, people, yeah, standing up there. Meanwhile, over at Coconut Creek Family Fun Park there on Panama City Beach, nice little breeze there, but everything all decorated this evening. When I was out there visiting them the other day, they were putting up all their Christmas lights. And Lagoon Pontoons there on Grand Lagoon, and you see the bridge there looking off to the west, nice and quiet this evening. South-southeast winds currently at 9 miles per hour. So as we widen out the picture and we look out over into Panama City Beach, this is looking over at Pineapple Willys in the Gulf. Our forecast headlines this evening: storms are going to be likely across our area with a very small severe weather event overnight tonight into the early morning hours of Wednesday. Thanksgiving and Black Friday, the weather actually looks very, very nice. It will be chilly though, so don't be surprised by that. It'll be very chilly, as a matter of fact. Next week, we're talking Sunday into like Monday, Tuesday, a better chance of rainfall, and I'm more optimistic right now, it's still ways away, that we'll see maybe some beneficial rainfall from that, whereas I'm not as convinced we're going to see much beneficial rainfall out of this mess coming in tonight. And you see those showers and thunderstorms. Tornado watch now canceled, but still some stronger storms up across Alabama, stronger storms moving over towards Mobile Bay and sliding off to the east. We'll keep an eye on that for our friends over in the Pensacola. You'll be the first ones to maybe see some storms tonight, although the line as a whole, there's indications by the models that the line could actually miss Pensacola and not reform until it moves a little bit farther to the east, closer to Panama City. So you see that risk of severe weather north of us. We have a much smaller risk down here. That is a 2% chance of tornadoes, a 5% chance of wind, and nothing in the way of really any hail across our area. When we talk about the severe weather threats, again, the primary one is going to be the damaging wind. Everything else is very low, and we're talking about less than 1/4 inch of rainfall, so obviously flooding not much of a concern. You can see all the deep moisture coming in out of the Gulf and the risk of severe weather across the northern Gulf states as that front moves through the southeast. But again, you look at it here, and there's your broken line of showers and thunderstorms, and watch as those storms head north. Look how little there is down to the south. See a couple showers and storms pop up here towards Cape San Blas. This is our in-house Barron model, and then everything clears out as it moves to the east. So again, not very bullish at all overnight tonight. So when it comes to the rainfall, how much rain could we end up seeing? Again, this will not make you very happy, but we're talking about in some places no rainfall, others just maybe a few hundredths of an inch to maybe 1/10 inch of rainfall. Overall, the Weather Prediction Center has on the high side 1/4 inch of rainfall, on the low side just a few hundredths of an inch of rainfall. Rainfall chances today, highest towards Pensacola and then decreasing towards Tallahassee overnight tonight. Rain chances are anywhere from 40%, 46% in Appalachia to as high as 74% over into Crestview, 67% into Bonifay. And then notice how that rain on Wednesday gets pushed off to the east and the dry air begins to move in. And you'll feel that drier air come in as the front passes. Winds go out of the south tonight and then turn out of the north tomorrow. And that will usher in that much drier air mass, which will bring in much colder temperatures as you make your way on into your Thanksgiving and on into Black Friday. It will feel every bit of the holiday spirit across our region as those winds will stay out of the north and west. And you see there's that dry air mass, dew point temperatures dropping down as low as maybe the single digits. We'll have to wait and see. Point being, it's going to get very dry. You'll be grabbing that chapstick by the end of the week. For more on the rest of our forecast, we go to meteorologist Dan Nyman.
I've already been abusing the chapstick here recently, Chris, so we will keep an eye out for that as the next several days move onwards. Obviously comfortable to get going for your Wednesday morning. And again, it won't be long after sunrise before we see that rain chance become a forgotten memory pretty quickly, and we should enjoy several more dry days here heading into the weekend. Might have to wait all the way until Sunday night before our next opportunity. High temperatures Wednesday back up inside of the 70s here across the area, noticeably a little cooler than this past afternoon, and you will notice throughout the day a little different feel. In fact, as the sun sets tomorrow night, we will really start to see the bottom drop out pretty quickly, and some of the lowest temperatures we see all day will come just before midnight tomorrow night. Your low temperature for the day will probably be recorded at 11:59, because by Thursday, now Thanksgiving, we're talking potentially 40s area-wide, maybe some 30s inland, 39 degrees in Marietta and Bonifay, 40 in Definiak Springs and Crestview. Then you got the mid-40s down to about 43 in Pensacola and over towards Panama City as well. And as you work through the day in Thanksgiving, you're still talking about 50s in some spots, so really not able to overcome that cold air advection or the movement of cooler air with the northwesterly winds. Elsewhere, just the low 60s. And again, a little breezy out there throughout Thanksgiving too, and dry air as well. You will feel a very different feel than what we had seen so far throughout this week. As we continue to work our way on through the next several days, we'll see the cool temperatures after this front passes tomorrow morning stay on the colder side of things, potentially getting close towards the end of this week, towards maybe getting into that frost freeze range. I think a frost certainly more likely areas north of the bays, and then for some of my friends north of I-10, especially the low-lying areas or spots that typically get just a touch cooler, you could be looking at an opportunity for just an hour or two spent at or slightly below freezing, 30 or 31 degrees. Tracking the cold weather here, watch this big dip in the jet stream. In fact, I think I should probably pull this up full screen for you here, and we'll be able to draw on exactly what's going on. As you see that big burst towards the south, that is your cold air shooting from up towards the continental parts of Canada. And as this trough starts to develop, that ultimately sinks down towards the south. It will be much colder as you get up into the Tennessee Valley. For us, we're kind of catching the tail end of this cool down, but still a pretty good shot of cooler air making its way down towards this part of the country. And we'll enter this Goldilocks zone for several days too, where it will be cold, but with this high pressure filtering in, it will at least be on the sunnier side of things. So we'll get to enjoy some nice views outside, even if we ultimately have to deal with temperatures that are just slightly below average. Certainly not a massive cold shot or the coldest air we've even seen this fall so far, but it will be a change from what we've been feeling. But we definitely are not going to be breaking any records with this round of cooler temperatures. As we talk about the next 7 days, rain chances do return, and as Chris was talking about, to start off next week, models starting to jump on board with a little more consistency and certainty in the forecast that we could pick up on some meaningful rainfall, the type of stuff that actually helps to make an advance towards the dry conditions we've been experiencing. Right now, we're going with about a 30 to 40% confidence, but that certainly could increase as models continue to evolve and pick up on this signal heading in towards early next week. Because very quickly, we'll go from that big trough that's bringing the cooler temperatures for Thanksgiving and Black Friday to ultimately more of a zonal or a west to east flow as we get in towards the end of this week and the start of the weekend. That's generally associated with pretty mild and comfortable conditions. And then you'll see here, we start to pick up on these troughs once again. There's a trough axis right there that's swinging through towards the eastern part of the country, and as you get into the leading edge of that trough and it starts to tilt just a little bit more in that negative direction like this, you start to see better dynamics for maybe another frontal system to produce widespread showers and thunderstorms to our west, and then eventually transition in closer towards us as we get further in through the weekend, basically Sunday night and on through Monday and Tuesday. And this is what we all want to see as we get in over the next 7 days. We're talking about finally seeing some life on the 7-day forecast rainfall totals. Most of this is coming towards the back end of the forecast tonight. Once again, that quarter of an inch range is not going to be picked up on much here. But as we tally up what's coming over the next 7 days, you start to see that opportunity for 2, maybe 2.5 inches of rain in parts of Mobile, and then for most of Northwest Florida, it's kind of a dwindling total as you get eastward, but still everybody at least a percentage opportunity to pick up on maybe an inch's worth of rain over the next 7 days. Not a drop buster. Everybody will welcome it, though, as we get through that time frame. So let's talk about the forecast for the events, Thanksgiving, Black Friday shopping as well. The 30A 10K bright and early on in Rosemary Beach. I'm glad, Chris, that I am not marrying into a turkey trot family here in the next 12 months. I will be in bed, but for the folks that enjoy it, it will be cool outside, which of course course, comfortable when you're trying to break a sweat out there. Thanksgiving, the food might have you breaking a sweat. The weather will not, though. Temperatures only up to the lower 60s, and it will be a brief window of time throughout the day, maybe just 2 or 3 hours, that we ultimately see temperatures right up inside of the 60s. The rest of the day, 50s or 40s for Thanksgiving. And then, of course, as we continue into Black Friday for the shopping forecast, it's a similar sort of story. I'm going to say that won't touch 60 degrees, but they certainly won't be there for long if you manage to make it happen. Most of the days spent in the mid to upper 50s. And for Beach Home for the holidays, as we get into Aaron Besant Park Friday from 3 to 7:30 in the afternoon into the early evening, once again, maybe a light coat or jacket for the sunny part of the day, and then add an extra layer as the sun sets, because certainly once you lose the sunshine out there, temperatures will feel much cooler. And that's going to be the same theme for Saturday as well. We start to rebound just a bit here as the 7-day forecast jumps into the weekend itself. Saturday, pretty pleasant, just about the right kind of weather for this time of year. Sunday, you're getting back up to around 70 degrees, and we'll enjoy those lower 70s into early next week. The same could be said for low temperatures, which they are going to be cool, especially Friday and Saturday. Those are our 2 days where inland, I think you got an hour's worth chance of freeze. Coastal locations, the 30s going to be maybe a bit uncomfortable to get the day started, but again, we do rebound with the sunshine, and then as we get through the weekend, the 50s return, which is a little more seasonal here for the time of year. That takes us to our 7-day forecast, where we've got tonight's chance for showers and thunderstorms. Again, a very small chance for severe weather, but something we will be tracking over the next 12 hours. Sunshine returning here at times, but a mix of sun and clouds ultimately the theme over the next 7 days, and those clouds eventually produce rainfall by Sunday night at the coast. That's your 40% chance in coastal locations. For inland locations, we're looking at the same sort of story, with temperatures rebounding over the course of the weekend, and finally some much needed and very beneficial rainfall rejoining the forecast for us, Chris, just in time, because of course the dry weather has certainly been a story for us here over the past month.
Yeah, and the encouraging thing is that both the Euro and the American model both kind of showed a little bit different on the timing, but they both showed like a couple different waves of rainfall in that Sunday to Tuesday timeframe, which gives me hope that like we'll get at least something that will wet our whistle, if you will.
And even on the long range part of the forecast, obviously we were talking on the website a couple of maybe a week or so ago. We had that story up about the sudden stratospheric warming event, and obviously that's something that produces a lot uncertainty over time. But the one thing we talked about at the end of that story was volatility. And now as you start to look at the ensemble models, take yourself out to even the first half of the middle of December, that 10th to 15th range, which is pretty far out there, kind of looks like these waves of rain or these frontal systems, as they so often do in the early part of winter, become more repetitive. And even maybe in spite of La Nina conditions to get winter started, we can at least start to claw back on some of the rainfall deficit, because if you talk to anybody right now in the Panhandle, whether it's trying to maintain their lawn or trying to keep the farm running, dry weather is one of the first things we've been talking about.
Yeah, and that was the Climate Prediction Center has shown that, you know, we're seeing above average precipitation possible. This goes out December 1st through 5th, so basically next week. The potential for at least above average precipitation. I mean, we're into like the lower chances there, like what? That's probably about 40 to 50% leaning above average for precipitation, and that's for the first week of December. And then as we move into the 3rd through 9th, so that gets us, you know, kind of out there a little bit longer, days 8 through 14 from now. We're in the, looks like, let's see, what are we kind of leaning above average? So not tons of confidence, but at least it's just nice to see a little bit more green on the map for hope that we might settle into a little bit more of a unsettled pattern with better rain chances.
And I was just taking a quick check through the chat here. Everybody's saying we need the rain. A question about Paulding, I believe is that Georgia, Chris? Paulding, Georgia?
Yeah, Paulding County, that's Dallas. is the county seat, just a suburb west of Atlanta. They were...
I'll be able to pull up the radar here.
Yeah. You want to pull it up? Hold on. Let's see. Hopefully this doesn't mess you up. Hold on.
We might have gotten to a reply a bit late because it looks like you're just now seeing northwest of Atlanta that the leading edge of this kind of frontal rain's already slid through, and there is some lingering stuff that I'm picking up on here as the touchboard loads up. Some lingering rainfall that's continuing to move through as well.
There we go.
There we go. But you'll see here, you kind of have that last little spurt of rainfall that's sliding in just to the west of Atlanta right now. A couple of lightning strikes within that, but definitely not looking at something that's going to be too intense, which is the kind of thing. I would generally say the theme with this front so far, we saw what it produced yesterday, obviously, through parts of Arkansas and Mississippi down into Louisiana, hasn't really delivered on any of the high-end potential at any point in time.
Yeah.
So there's not much reason to believe that something on that trend will change as it becomes something we have to deal with tonight.
Yeah, and that's Paulding County right there, just to the east of where those thunderstorms are. But those storms probably will pass just north of Paulding County. The other thing to note, the thunderstorms that are moving up towards the Atlanta airport, that's not significant, but from the standpoint of, down here, as far as nothing severe, but that could cause a ground stop or something of that nature, and that's Paulding County right there. So you got that thunderstorm, and we can put it over the past hour. You see it's gone past north of Dallas, but these thunderstorms moving right towards the airport right now. But that's where we stand. So I guess here's the plan for tonight. We're going to sit here and babysit these thunderstorms for you. We'll cut in as necessary, post updates on social media. Like I said, I'm not overly concerned, but we do have some storms up into Alabama, but that's where the strongest stuff is. We got some storms over moving into Baldwin County there. In Alabama, but again, nothing overly strong. But we'll still babysit it just in case. That's why we have a 24-hour weather channel. It's all we care about, the weather.
Yep, we will step away. I'm going to find something I can cook without having to use water, Chris.
Or you could go to Lickin' Chicken.
That sounds like a plan. Hopefully I didn't cut it too late. Nope, still have an hour. So that sounds like a good way to get the night going.
There you go.
And of course, could be a lot more weather to do tonight, or of course, we could also find out that we're really not going to see this materialize into anything. It seems to be a little bit more likely right now, but obviously we'll have fun either way, Chris.
Yep. Y'all have a wonderful evening. We'll see you later on tonight.